Welcome everybody to another courtroom event on Lockdown 23 and 1. That's right, we got ourselves a little credit card fraudster that happens to start crying to the judge for just one more day. One more day of freedom, Your Honor. I got direct deposit coming in tomorrow, and my wife does not have access to it. I gotta make sure she gets it. Yup, that's right. And what he wore to court, if I were to guess, was a technique for him to possibly lock this deal in. But it didn't work, not one bit, ladies and gentlemen. So let's get right into it. The courtroom, if you got some khakis, dockers, whatever, go ahead and fresh press them. Slap on the button up and put on some jute cologne. We got a judge to impress. But as always, before we do that, go ahead and tap that like, subscribe, notification bell if you enjoy. And of course, check out my playlist with many more gripping episodes for you to start watching today. So Mr. Slaughter here is going to be going to court today for possession of a stolen credit card and carrying a concealed weapon. But these crimes were from 3 years prior. He was sentenced to 1 year in jail and 18 months of probation for these crimes. But he's going in front of the judge today for violations and stuff because the judge allowed him to stay out in the streets on home monitoring so he didn't have to go to jail. He could stay out and get his restitution and fines taken care of. Not to mention, at the time, he had 6 other warrants, and the judge wanted him to take care of those at the same time. Which blows my mind, because if I ever got locked up and I had warrants somewhere else, man, I'm going straight to jail. And let me just say this before we move forward, all right? Anybody out there doing the whole credit card fraud situation, man, they don't play with that. White collar crimes, man, I've noticed throughout my time, people get smoked. And I'm not talking about a lot of time. Usually, though, they give you a lot of probation. Not to mention those fines and stuff, all the credit cards that you stolen and spent money on, man, you're going to have to pay all that back. And they won't let you off probation or anything in many states until you pay every last drop of your restitution and fines. I'll never forget, when I paid mine, I was off probation in a couple months. I was like, man, this is all I need to do is pay y'all. That's it. But be careful out there, all you credit card fraudsters, man. You will get caught up sooner or later. And usually when people do get caught up, man, they get caught up for all the stuff in the past that they were doing. They end up linking it. And now you're facing 50 different credit card felony charges. All right, so starting off in the courtroom is his probation officers. And explain to the judge all the mess ups he's been doing lately. That's typically what these POs do. But also, if you're doing right and the PO sees it, they'll come in there saying that as well. It's just typically everybody's messing up on probation, man. So all you ever really hear is stuff like this.
Mr. Slaughter still has not paid anything towards his fees, costs, or restitution. He has not resolved the 6 pending warrants that he had. He now has an additional 4 warrants as well, which are for driving without a license and for narcotic possession. He failed to appear for sentencing. The tether reports will show that he has multiple shutdowns of his tether, meaning he has failed to charge that tether and it was shut down. There's a total of 11 shutdowns, and then there is a home zone violations as well. There's 21 of those violations. Those are saying that he's not in the home when he was required to be in the home.
So, over 11 different shutdown events on his ankle monitor. I would have been shut down after just one. ATF, everything would have kicked in the doors. So it seems to me that the courts has given this guy plenty of chances. Also, you heard the PO, she didn't have nothing good to say whatsoever. And whenever that happens, man, it's guaranteed. Fresh bunk status inside D Block.
I'm not going to deal with any of this today. This is a surrender date for Mr. Slaughter, and that's what's going to happen. If there is a violation of probation filed or a tether violation filed subsequent to this, then you'll receive notice and we'll hear it.
All right, so first thing here is let's look at his attorney standing right next to him. As you can see, she's pretty close to the individual. Now, when the judge says, look, this is a surrender date, I don't got time for anything else, you're going to jail today, buddy. He starts losing his composure a little bit, puts his hands on top of his head. Well, first he raises his hand. And I've done this numerous times, man, when the judge is speaking. You don't want to interrupt him. Just raise your hand like they've been teaching you since kindergarten. But after he raises his hand and the judge keeps on going without letting him speak, take a closer look here, all right? He turns around, and as you can see, this is another thing I wanted to point out. He didn't have to go and reach back to anything on that bench. He just wanted the judge to see that highway yellow work vest. I'm a working man. I gotta go to work immediately after this trial. That's why I'm still wearing the vest. You can't send me to jail, right? That's probably what he's thinking in his mind. But that's what I think every time I see someone show up in their work uniform. Like, man, you ain't gonna be making it today. Nice try, though. But look, see, the attorney of his is still standing pretty close to him.
What's upsetting you, Mr. Slaughter? Sheriffs don't like you turning around. Stand still, face me.
Now, as you can see now, his attorney's starting to make a little space because he's acting a little bit erratic, angry, fidgety, you know. He might just run out the courtroom or attack someone. Who knows? That's probably what's going on in his attorney's mind. Bailiffs said they don't like him turning his back on the judge either, to keep still. So they're sensing like something might happen, and his attorney just keeps getting further and further away from him.
This is a surrender date. I'm sorry I asked for an update, Mr. Slaughter, if a fraction of what she said is true. No, this is a surrender date, Mr. Slaughter. A surrender date.
Now the attorney's almost completely out of view and the bailiff is there, ready for anything. But if I were to guess, they've probably seen some crazy stuff in this courtroom because they're prepared. A lot of these backwoods and little county courtrooms, man, you won't see none of this stuff because it's never happened to them before. But when it does, they'll change up the whole script just like these individuals doing, playing it safe.
I didn't think that I'd get locked up because the work was in there, so I thought I was gonna get continued. That's why I even went to work today, this man.
Told you that guy was hoping on that vest situation. That's why I wore this vest today, ma'am. Shit.
That's why I even went to work today, this man.
Objection to work release if work release is offered, Mr. Slaughter. If it is offered, it is not offered. It doesn't exist anymore.
And neither does his attorney. She's nowhere to be seen. She has gotten as much distance from this guy as possible. We're gonna do a courtroom analysis here in a second. Trust me, this one deserves it.
This was a plea, not a trial, a plea. I'm not relitigating where we are.
I get my direct deposit tomorrow. I just wanted to make sure that my wife and them were straight as it.
You knew that it was today. The direct deposit is going to be there tomorrow.
I just wanted one day to take it. Please.
Your wife, doesn't she have access to your bank account?
No, she don't. No, she don't. My wife got a spending problem, so I'll keep all my money to me.
Oh man, Your Honor, you gotta give him another day. Just one more day, man. The direct deposit hits tomorrow. His wife has no access to it because, like he says, she spends too much. So he keeps all the money to himself. Oh man, you know, if I had $1 for every time Amazon popped up in my bushes, Brittany. One time, I swear, man, Brittany hit up Amazon or whatever, man. They had FedEx, US Mail, USPS, all in the cul-de-sac at one time coming to my house. I mean, it was insanity. I said, Brittany, this is enough.
That's all I'm.
What are you going to do for the next 11 months in the Wayne County Jail?
She's going to have to figure it out.
Well, then she had to figure it out before today. Today's the surrender date, Mr. Slaughter.
Just to the morning, just to the morning, I still got to tell her.
This is disingenuous, Mr. Slaughter. You can't ask me for any more time. I've been as generous gift. Mr. Slaughter, you see the 3 pages of people who need to see me today.
Yes, I need everything just tonight, Miss Ramsey, please. I would turn myself in the morning. I will come straight down.
Come on now, Mr. Slaughter. Today is the day. How many pleases do you get out of me?
I'm just asking for a few hours, please. Just a few hours. Just to say bye to my family and everything.
That was last night.
Miss Ramsey.
You're at the end of probation. You gotta serve this time.
Oh, I'm sick.
Go with my sheriff. Come on.
Never.
Come on now. Breaking the law has its consequences.
Man, oh man, his work vest will be waiting for him after 11 months in property. Can you imagine having to put that back on at the end knowing you damn well ain't got that job anymore? Now, Mr. Slaughter unfortunately had to do his time, but now, after checking the Michigan DOC website, it says that he's on probation as of 2021, I believe, if I remember correctly. So, he's got another chance at freedom. Hopefully, he doesn't mess this one up. But let's go ahead and end this on a high note with a little bit of a courtroom analysis. It's hard to tell with this 480p imaging processor they have, but the clerk of court is slacking with the judge having all this stuff everywhere. But looking at this overhead view, man, look at all the antique maple birch. It was sold to the courts back in 1823 from the California Redwood Preserve. I'll never be able to get that sweet smell of maple and birch out my memories. We have not only one, but three what appears to be knockoff rhino lining chairs. How are you going to have all that beautiful maple birch but have a knockoff rhino lining? Surrounded by Elon Musk false moon lighting. Beautiful. And they have the portable smoke detector purifier. Man, there must be a lot of boots getting roasted in here. We got the deputy over here nodding out. Tired of all these credit card cases, man. He wants something juicy. But anybody that hasn't noticed already, this courtroom is designed for pure safety of the judge. He would first have to hop around the replica rhino lining, then he would have to go through the clerk of court's desk, which works as a barrier, or kind of like a moat in ancient times. And you got the court stenographer over here watching just to make sure that no one breaches the clerk of court's barrier. Rumor has it that they got the plans to recreate this courtroom just like the Bodiam Castle in East Sussex, built in 1385 to defend England. This stronghold's encircled with a deep moat. Nobody's getting to the judge, just like nobody's getting to the king. I give this courtroom, I'd say, just because of the dirtiness of the judge's desk, a 5. There you have it. Not too long of an episode today. Hopefully you got a few laughs and learned, that credit card fraud does not pay. Not to mention the leniency in the courtroom is going to go straight out the window sooner or later. You keep messing up, keep bringing back violations, man. You're going to Himtown Penitentiary, packed with promise makers. Never realize the precious time that dudes is wasting. Name the artist that said that in the comment section below. But anyways, I'm out of here. Stay tuned. I got plenty more content coming your way. And as always, y'all be easy, be safe. And more importantly than anything, stay free.